So today, because there are not many, we are thinking of having a discussion on any questions particularly that needs to be discussed. So that's what we'll be doing, no? Arjun ji, Manjusha ji, Sarvan ji. Yeah.
Yeah, Arjun ji, you can start.
Okay, good. 1 minute, sir. Good. Full question, sir. 1 minute, sir. You are making some arrangement. Okay. So yesterday we had a conversation. Like I had conversation with Prabhu sir, and in the conversation, couple of things which came out was, we have here Ajay ji. Ajay ji is not there. Who is the other? Who is there? Ma'am.
Yeah, Mrs. Ajay Chandran sir.
Anju ji. Anju ji.
Yes, sir.
Because Vijay ji and Shravan ji knows the context. Now, for me, I was whatever we are doing in Bhagavad Gita or whatever we are doing as a spiritual journey, its implication is on our practical life. If these two are disconnected, then we'll be inspired by by going through this whole spiritual journey. It has to be like the more spiritual teaching or spiritual depth I go into, the more peace I need to derive in my personal life also. And that is the thing which has always motivated me to be a part of Atmajyoti group. Okay. So with that in context, what happened was yesterday I met Prabhuji and asked him a question. Sir, what is this whole thing about? One person is troubling me a lot in my life. And why is that why should be in love with that person also? Or why should I in turn have him as a person who is included in my life or have an inclusiveness nature rather than excluding him out in my life? How is that will help me? And I cannot get over and say that, oh, come, we are all great friends and or we are all one and the same. Why that one? We are a part of the one whole universe. You and me are not no different and all. So this was the basic fundamental question which I went to Prabhuji with yesterday. And we had a session like yesterday morning with Vijayji and Sarvananji. It's a different group altogether. And they also will agree that I was disturbed quite a bit yesterday. And I was not in a frame of mind to accept in totality that there is no difference between Jiva, the Jagat and Ishvara. Every Jagat, Ishvara and me are one and the same. So which is a part of this course of journey, what we and all. So that's what we'll come to. And Vijayji already has told about Tattvamasi. As a part of this journey, he has explained to us in the earlier program sessions also. Now, what is the fundamental thing which I had was, what I got clarified yesterday was that the spiritual journey and my life journey is one and the same. That was the biggest distinction I got. Okay. And this was one which motivated me further yesterday that, wow, what a journey I'm having in this world. What a beautiful journey I'm having. So one of the things which was bothering me was to give the very short description is, I have been using I have got some kind of condition of hamstring. So I've been asked to use staircase in my flat apartment complex and come down by lift. That means I go up by staircase for 4 floors, come down by lift. And that was objected by one of my neighbors, and we are having a lot of conflict between him and me. So it continued yesterday, day for yesterday it was there, yesterday what was there, and it was going on. And everything, anger is rising up in me, and I am getting agitated, I get irritated, I get absolutely wanting to go and slam this guy. Now I am getting this anger. The best part is I am not expressing the anger. The other person is expressing the anger left, right, and center. She is putting in the group, you can see jumping up and down and all those stuff. Now, the Arjun of the past, if I was not exposed to this learning, I would also been like him. I would have also put across my anger and my own frustration, my anger, my irritation, and both of us would have fight to an extent that we would have taken the swords, if not the swords of the physical swords, the swords of the I call nowadays Vijayji and Saranji as words of warriors. If you see in the group, if you are there in the apartment group and all, there are warriors in the WhatsApp, and they will fight like warriors, one another with words and all those things. There are intellectual WhatsApp warriors. So I would have been that WhatsApp warrior with him. And the best part, what happened, Anjuji, by this whole thing was, I refused to be sucked into this game battle. I had a discussion with Vijayji. I had a crucial conversation with Vijayji. I had a very deliberate exchange of thoughts which are differing from each other, from Vijayji, me and Saravanan, which are differing. But I did not have a fight with them. I was just trying to understand why this confrontation within me, why this is not going out of my system. So that was my conversation, the whole process. Now, what's happened because of this kind of exposure which I got, thanks to Vijayji, Nasim Prabhuji, Saravananji, I am able to now observe myself within and see that before it disturbs the environment, how do I retain that observation within me and see that it doesn't disturb the equilibrium of the environment which I'm existing, whether it could be my relationship with the other person or the relationship with the world.
Did we lose Arjunji?
Yeah. Arjunji, we cannot hear you. If you are talking.
So maybe we can update Ishaji and Santoshji who have joined.
Yeah.
As to what is happening today.
Hari Om Ishaji and Santoshji.
Hari Om, sir. We are
Hari Om.
here in the vehicle, so the network is.
Ravi is here.
Okay, Ravi. Hari Om, Ravi ji. Yeah. So just to we started with prayer, and Arjun ji was explaining a situation which he is going through, and trying to understand how to apply the learning from Bhagavad Gita in the daily life. Because what we are learning is not something like theory, rather it's something which one should be able to apply in daily life, right? It's about our own transformation. And this discussion always happens where every once in a while, one of us will come and say, hey, you know what, when I was in a very peaceful state, the teachings, I was able to appreciate, understand the teachings, but when the situation is not in a peaceful, I'm unable to apply, right? So which happens, and Arjunji is explaining what happened to him and how he is managing it now with the study that he has been having till now. Okay, hope you got the context.
Hello?
Yeah, so Arjunji, I was just updating.
Yes, sir.
Arjunji, I was updating Ishaji, Raviji, and Santoshji about what you are talking about. Please continue. Can you hear us, Arjunji? It looks like still he has a problem. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, Arjunji.
So what, Anjuji, as I was discussing with you, what I'm seeing that being in this group is helping me to maintain the kind of equanimous state within me and equilibrium in my environment. Equanimous within me and equilibrium in my environment. And Vijayji and Sharonji, I'm acknowledging and thanking you both for being that part of that experience of mine, where I'm able to maintain the the kind of equanimity within myself and equilibrium, because today I got a fabulous background breakthrough. And I asked one question to Prabhuji. Prabhuji, tell me one thing. You said you should have peace. You should have everything should exist around you. You should be peaceful. That's what you say. But why did Krishna ask Arjuna to fight the battle in that case after giving all the discourse of Bhagavad Gita?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, looks like he's having audio issues.
Do we wait for Arjunji to join?
Yeah,
What
I
do you
think he's in
recommend?
he's in a flow. He wants to,
Complete that.
yeah.
Okay.
But at least like I've been thinking based on our last discussion again, everything that the scenario I see is a thought in me, and right, the more I think, yeah, it makes sense on.
So
Like-
maybe, Saranji, sorry for cutting you. We can listen to Anjushaji, Ishaji, Raviji, and Santoshji.
Yes.
In how they are seeing, how are they handling a situation where there is a kind of a emotional turbulence with another person.
Yes.
So let Arjunji complete, and then we can listen to them.
Yeah.
That way we can.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I this network issue has been like Arjuna before listening to this whole discourses, full of disconnect, full of disconnect, full of disturbance. So the network has been like that today. But I am peaceful.
No. I guess the situation is trying to ground you, and so that like.
Yeah. No, but I am peaceful inside. I'm absolutely peaceful. With all these things, I'm not disturbed, which would have been disturbed earlier. What is this network? Why this whole thing? I don't understand this government Wi-Fi thing and all those stuff. I have blamed everybody. So what I'm declaring in front of the group is this whole study group. What it has done to me is it's been able to keep my equanimous within and equilibrium outside. This is what is the benefit of being the part of this group. Okay, so that's what I wanted to communicate. And one thing what I said was, why is that Krishna asked to fight, asked Arjuna to fight? Then Prabhuji said, Arjun, actually speaking, before Bhagavad Gita, if Arjuna would have fought the battle, then he would be fighting the battle. But after Bhagavad Gita, the Shakti is fighting the battle, not Arjuna. The Shakti is fighting the battle, not Arjuna. Okay, so that gives power to Arjuna multifolds to fight the battle with greater vigor and to distinguish between dharma and adharma and go ahead and make the dharma to uphold the dharma and see that dharma is established in the world. It's not about kingdom anymore, it's about dharma.
Yeah.
So this was the biggest distinction I got. So this is what I wanted to share, Vijayji, Anjuji, and Sharavananji. Hopefully I have not taken away too much of time from the group.
So what does it? What was the takeaway for you? How did you apply that to the situation you were going through?
I'm
Okay.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
like
maybe.
it's the internet problem. Yeah, so maybe we can now
Yeah.
release the others, no, Saranji?
I don't know if everyone got the essence of what Arjunji was saying in the last sentence. That if not for Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna would be fighting. Now that Bhagavad Gita is given, it is not Arjuna who is fighting, it is Shakti which is fighting. If any of you understood that, or like if you have doubts on that, maybe we can discuss. That itself is a big statement, actually.
which one, Saranji? Sorry, I missed it.
So before Bhagavad Gita, if there was fighting, it would have been Arjuna. After Bhagavad Gita, it was not Arjuna who was fighting; it was Shakti, which was fighting to establish dharma. So I'm just asking everyone, if they were able to appreciate the deep meaning behind this statement, and if not, like we should discuss on that itself. Yeah, Anjuji, Ishaji, Raviji, anyone?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
I have also the same opinion. Joining this class has given a lot of what you can say awakening. So many things. Why I didn't join it before, I used to think. For example, by profession, I am a doctor. So also, right, our profession, a lot of competition is involved, and a lot of we can give it to the society. That is what our profession is. But when you look at the real profession or among our colleagues, see, now I always think, why can't everyone be the same? Or I always feel we cannot change anyone also. That is the thing. I always had it in mind. After attending these classes, what I learned is that let me do my karma. It is not my way. I can only give insight, maybe. I can give a little bit insight to the juniors or this thing. I cannot change anyone. That is what I even if we want to change also, until and otherwise they have a mind to listen, they have a mindset to change themselves, it's impossible. Maybe it's a part of Kali Yuga. And one more thing, I have a doubt, sir. After attending these classes, by nature, I myself is a maybe a little docile person. I won't fight against. I have become more docile. I feel. Is it good or bad? I don't know. That is my question to you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So the one good point I can see is like where like you're shifted to let me first do, and then like uh, go and attend, like try to change others. And I believe that is I guess the whole essence of what we are going through is self, uh, I would say, transformation, because the whole study of Bhagavad Gita Vedanta is about self. And in the few years I have spent, if I can understand myself, there is no problem outside. So the problem is only what needs to be cleaned up or like fixed is in me right now, and that's all. And once that is done, the view of the world itself changes. What we see as world completely changes. So I think that's the right direction. I would say, which this Gita classes are trying to take all of us through, because it's always easy to point to others saying that if not for that person, I would have been like so peaceful and my life would have been so good, right? It is always easy to say that because of others, if not for that person, I would have made uh, big progress in my career, or like my life would have, my family would have been great, right? But the thing what we don't realize is the way we see the world is through our own mind glasses. right? And just this afternoon, as I was driving back home, I was just thinking, any view I have of other, where the duality comes, let's say me and other, there can be four possibilities. One, I am right about the other, okay, and like meaning like uh, I understood, and that understanding was correct, good and good, or like I think good but other side is bad, which is very good. Basically, like I'm reading a situation in a favorable way. I think bad, but the other side is good, which is like my own problem, right? Because I'm viewing the other through my mind. And the other one is I see bad and the other side is bad, which is like no, nothing to worry about, or like it's the same, right? The worst thing which, or like the main thing that to fix is I seeing the other one as bad, which while it was not the case, which means it is my mind, the colored glasses which through which I am seeing the whole world, right? And that cleaning is what is going on with all these classes like Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, where they try to explain who am I, and like what is the world, and what is the relation between me and the world. So I would say like perfectly that's the right way to proceed. To start with me, with self, and like let me see if I am doing things right, do my karma, and how I am doing it. And what I've seen is over a period of time, the view of the other slowly changes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. And the worrying thing will be that when I am not right and I want to change the world, okay, that is where the confusion will start. Okay, where when we are trying to implement something, we get confused, saying that, oh, which Arjuna went through, right? He was the leader and he was leading the army. And when you are there, you have to be clear. When you are not clear, the whole army behind you is going to be like, oh, okay, so what should we do now? Right? So that is definitely, I would say, like right direction.
Also, Sarananji, there was a second part to Anjushaji's question.
Uh-huh.
By nature, she said, she feels docile, and now her docility she feels has increased. Right? So, this one, Anjushaji, when you look into it, there is a concept in your mind about your nature, correct? So, for example, somebody feels, oh, I am a very angry person. Now, where is this thing called as anger? Is it somewhere in the body? Is a particular part of the body related to anger? No. It is something related to certain thought patterns that get triggered upon certain inputs. And when it gets triggered, the way it triggers the whole system in terms of external observation, somebody calls it as anger, right? So, for example, somebody is coming in front of me, and the signal is green for me, and the other side is, of course, red. And when I'm trying to pass, this person is also coming. So that may trigger the so-called anger reaction in me. Now, what is the reason for that? Why is that, at that point in time, I felt to act in a certain way? I may potentially yell at that person. Can you not see? Are you blind? Or I may even use abusive words. Why that kind of action arose within me? Why that thought pattern arose within me? Let's say another situation, or another person in the same situation, maybe better. It's like the example of Buddha and Angulimala. If another person was passing through the forest, and if Angulimala had yelled at Buddha or that person, the other person would have shivered and scrambled and ran, whereas Buddha was very peaceful. So situation is the same, but the action or the response to the situation seems to be different. What makes the difference between these two? Definitely not the situation, because the input is the same. Somebody yelling at you or somebody shouting at you, Buddha acted in one way and the other person acted in another way. So there is this classical story, right, which you may know or we may have discussed in the class. Buddha, Ananda, and the old lady. Do you recall that story, Anjushaji? Have you spoken about that in this class?
No, sir, I was not there. Class.
Okay. So, as you know, Buddha, Ananda, they used to go and beg for food, and whatever the little food they get, with that they would distribute and eat, and in return they would offer some jnana. That is how their life used to be. That is the life of a sannyasi. So today also they went to a house, and an old lady opened, and she saw Buddha. She must have had some fighting internally with her husband or somebody. So she was very angry that day. So she saw Buddha and she got even more anger. She started shouting at him, "Are you not ashamed? You look like a well-built man. Why are you doing this? People like you are really the ones who cause such kind of chaos in the society. Lazy people." Like that, she kept on abusing him. And her anger was uncontrollable. At the end, she spit on him and banged the door closed. All through this, Buddha was standing there very silently, as if he was just watching a cloud or as if he was watching a butterfly pass. But Ananda, who was right behind him, was getting agitated. How can this lady speak to my master? He had a great love for his master. How can this lady speak to my master like this? What does she think of herself? Who's my master? He's God incarnate. Who can somebody treat him like that? So he was getting agitated. But seeing Buddha remain so calm, he somehow held himself. And when she banged the door closed, they went and sat under a tree. Now he could not contain Ananda. He went. He asked, "How can you remain silent? You should have told her. You acted in a very docile way, the way to just to take your example. It's very docile reaction. You did not make any mistake. That lady doesn't understand who you are. How can she act like this? You should have given back to her." So Buddha very peacefully said, "Ananda, keep your begging bowl." So he kept his begging bowl away. Then Buddha offered his begging bowl to Ananda. "Please take this begging bowl." For a moment, Ananda was very happy. He's receiving something from his master. The love he has for his master is so great that, oh, my master is giving me a begging bowl. So he was very happy. He received it. Now, Buddha put the question, "Ananda, when I gave this begging bowl, if you had not received it, with who it would have remained? With who it would have remained, Anjushaji?"
With the Buddha only, sir.
With Buddha only, right? So Buddha then said, "Like this, Ananda, when that old lady was spitting whatever she was spitting, why would anyone spit what they spit? Imagine you're walking on a road and a beggar comes in front of you. Please give me some money. You put your hand in your pocket and you remove your hand. What comes out of your pocket? Whatever was there in your pocket. Now, who put that in the first place? You must have put that in the first place. Now, that only can come. A note or a scrap or whatever that is there. So like that, I was simply noticing her, Ananda, for somebody to spit so much of anger. Anger is like a volcano. It burns inside it burns when it is being emitted, it burns all through. So what great pain must be there inside? I was simply noticing Ananda. I was noticing how it was coming, how it was coming out. And I was only wishing, may she realize the path, may she realize the peace that is within her, and may this whole thing go away. I was simply standing there seeing that. Whereas you, Ananda, you took what she gave you. And that mixed with what is in your mind. And that gave whatever the response that is coming into you. Now, this is the story, Anjushaji. We can draw many inferences from this story related to what you narrated.
Sorry, Vijayji.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the story because of the connection, disconnection, all the stuff.
Yeah.
What did once it was slammed the door? What happened to Ananda? What did he do?
So Ananda was getting very agitated.
Okay.
So they went and sat under a tree. Then Ananda could not hold, and he went to Buddha and asked, "Why you remain silent?" And Buddha asked him to keep his begging bowl away and offered Buddha's begging bowl to him. And Ananda received it gladly, his master's begging bowl. Then Buddha asked the question, when I gave the begging bowl to you, if you hadn't received, who it would have remained?
With Buddha only.
With Buddha only. Right? So this is the story that...
got it.
Yeah. Now, what kind of inferences we can draw from this story? So Anjushaji, so what all can you can feel at this point of time?
Vijayji, Santosh here. One question.
Yes, Santosh.
So when you told about when you started telling about the reaction of Buddha when that lady started shouting. I mean, the volcano when explored, as you told, but what was the receiving? How Buddha was receiving?
Buddha was standing silent, as if, like I said, as if like a cloud is passing, like a butterfly is in front of him. He was simply watching.
Okay.
The deep peace on his face continued to be there before, during, after. Whereas Ananda was going through all sorts of churning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but what did Buddha finally conclude to Ananda so that he will also have that peace?
Correct. So that's the discussion now. So now,
okay,
that's the question I'm putting to Anjushaji to begin with. What all we can draw from this particular story? Yes, Anjushaji.
It is all depend on how much we take it from others and how we take it. Okay, it is what you can say. It is our interpretation of the situation.
Excellent.
Others' fault and how we, what you can say, our thought in each situation and how we go about in a particular situation with our own thinking and our own conscience is important than looking at others' perception. That's what I thought, sir. I understood.
That's one of the inference you're drawing. Excellent. How about Ishaji and Raviji? You have any inference to draw from this?
I think the best example is, when you're driving a car and when somebody crosses suddenly without, you just burst out, you will abuse or we generally tend to do this. Probably I'm trying to, I feel that somewhere we have to, this particular aspect should help me, not to react like that. Practically in everyday situations.
Okay,
is what I felt.
is what you
And partially here,
Yeah, go ahead, Raviji.
now I could hear partially, so whatever I understood, I responded on these lines.
Fair enough. Does Ishaji have anything to add?
I don't know. I'm not very clear, sir, but I feel that, our reaction about, that how we react to anybody saying anything all depends on us. Most of the time, personally, I react very aggressively to situations. I usually do it, instantly. I get very wild when somebody is not able to understand or somebody is pretending not to understand. It irates me very quickly. Okay, and it usually I am very calm and I have lots of patience with strangers or with colleagues or with neighbors. But with family only, I will react like that. So that's the problem, whether it's parents or husband or child, no? I feel that, they should know everything about me. Then why are they doing something like this?
Hmm.
So, these days, in a few days, this class is really good because something which I've been wanting to do, but I had no idea whom to ask. So many people I had asked, do you take this class? Do you take Shloka class or Bhagavad Gita class? And when usually we stay in a place where they used to say that, that area after 12, 15 kilometers, you have to travel, take it. There was nothing called online concept as, it's nice, even in the worst time called COVID, something nice has happened is we are able to get everything through online. So yeah, I feel that's the way you have to react. Reaction, we have to say that, we can't put burden about somebody understanding us completely to anyone, including family. So they may not know why they need not, right? Even they are like, we say family, so end of the day, they are also one personality individually only. So
All right.
yeah,
But-
in that way, I keep thinking, okay, whenever I yell at people like, oh God, I'm taking this class, so I shouldn't be yelling at people. It has to be something useful. So yeah, immediately after 2 minutes, I'll think, oh God, and I won't even have that, I won't talk first. I'll only go and talk first. It's okay.
Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. How about Santosh ji? Does Santosh ji have any inferences to draw from what we are discussing?
From my point of view, before coming to Advaita, yes, of course, if somebody spits and if something is not working according to me, definitely the anger will burst like that lady, and we start busting the opponent and abuse, and as Raviji was mentioning, somebody comes in front of the vehicle, we used to shout, and sometimes we have fought in such a way that we have gone, manhandled him. I mean, these kind of things have happened. That is before Advaita, and now after coming to Advaita, yes, anger is yes. I know. Yes, there is some input is coming to me, and yes, of course we react, but within a minute we'll come to know that the reaction whatever happened is from the point of my body and my mind and mentally. It's not me, and I just be present to that and try to handle the situation. I mean, this is what the change what I have noticed in my day-to-day life, and still there are a lot of challenges with respect to everyday activity. But again, we will get present. But earlier, that present itself was not there. But now we get present to the situation. Yes, this is not a way I need to behave. This is what it is wrong, and then that anger will come down, and then I just continue. I'll just say sorry if something happens, and I'll just continue. And certain times I ignore. Especially this roadside drama happens a lot, every day in Bangalore traffic. This is what my input is, Vijayji.
Excellent. See, the story, has many ways of, we can draw the inference. So one of the way of looking at it is, it can enable us to understand Ananda's way, old lady's way, and Buddha's way. There are three viewpoints we can bring there. What made the old lady behave the way she behaved? What made Ananda behave the way he behaved? And what enabled Buddha to behave the way he behaved? Right? So three distinct, same situation, but three distinct inferences. So for that, why not we first understand? Of course, all of you would already know, but still, I would like to show one simple video of how we hear. And after that, we will go into how that sound that is coming, how we really interpret. So let's first take a look at that, and then we will kind of continue our discussion. So imagine, there's a sound coming from outside. When that sound comes, ultimately, it reaches your ears, all of you would know already, as waves. And there is this little, like a very thin membrane which vibrates when the sound waves hit. And when it hits, there are three bones. Of course, amongst us, we have doctors. They know much better, but still trying to explain it in a simple way. And when these three bones, they vibrate, it in turn causes vibration within what is called as cochlea, which has this fluid. And when this fluid vibrates, the vibration of the fluid gets picked up by very thin hair-like cells, right? Which are all around that cochlea. And when these hair cells start vibrate, and they vibrate depending upon the vibration of that fluid, and that causes very small electrical changes, electrical impulses. Now those electrical impulses is what gets carried through our nerves, and they go into the part of the brain where it appears. Okay, so this is the physical mechanism, whatever the physical mechanism we have. Our current physical understanding of the overall hearing is up to this, right? So these things vibrate, and through the cochlea, how it gets picked up by those hair cells, and how it creates electrical impulses, and how it travels to the part of the brain. Now, this is where, everything is a mystery, even to the current science. Beyond this, current science also doesn't necessarily explain you how exactly the brain really works in terms of putting it all together. There's a lot of research. And beyond that, all of you have something what you call as your mind. So there is really no connection to how you eventually perceive this in your mind. What we just now saw is your physical mechanism of how the sound travels through your inner ear and all that to the brain. But from there, mind, if I ask you the question, where is your mind? What is your mind? Nobody has seen a mind, but you all know it exists. So there is something which is kind of, very mysterious, metaphysical, which none of us are able to see in terms of, this physical understanding, but we all know it exists. So there's a transition. So this sound, though it can come to the brain, that alone is not sufficient for you to hear, correct? Because in a dead body also, all these physical organs are still there, which means that all those physical functions may still be happening, but somehow something else has to be there which enables the actual hearing, actual understanding. So that's something which is right now missing in the dead body. For the time being, let's refer to it as a kind of a energy, right? So now that energy, if it is not there, that awareness, if it is not there, then having all these physical organs has no value. You still cannot hear. So that is where Vedanta, which is, Bhagavad Gita also, gives us a clearer understanding of what you see outside is a outer instrument. It is a karana. Karana means an instrument, bahya karana. And there's an inner instrument called mind, antakarana. And Vedanta identifies 4 specific functions within the antakarana, or your inner instrument, which can also be thought of as your inner body. Because your body is not just the physical body that you see outside. You have an inner body, mental body also, isn't it? For example, if I ask you, show me where you are an Indian. You cannot show your pinky finger or your index finger or your eyes and say, I'm an Indian. See, it's not your physical part that makes you an Indian. You have a Indian body in your mind. How it is, nobody can explain, show clearly, but you all know, oh, Indian is an idea, Japanese is an idea, Hindu is an idea. So it's all in the mind, right? So this mind, antakarana, has 4 functions. There's a mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Mana is where all these sensations, so now we just now saw how the sound travels in the ear and comes to the brain, and from the brain it comes into this mana, right? So the sensations. So ultimately, right now, if you just simply close your eyes, you'll still be hearing the sound that I'm making. So how this sound is coming to you, how do you know that I'm saying something, is because of the sensation that you're feeling in your mind. So whatever I'm speaking is causing a sensation in your mind, right? Now the sensation is continuously coming and going, depending upon what I'm speaking, right? Now, it's the same thing that, whether you're a small baby or a grown-up person, or taking the example of our story, the old lady was causing whatever the abusive language, right? Now the same sensation was reaching to Ananda and Buddha. So till the mana, it's the same function, same mechanism, no change. So physical instrument is also the same. The sensation is also the same. Wonderful. Now, the next thing, buddhi, intellect. In the intellect of Ananda, there was anger as a response, reaction. Reaction versus response we will understand, but for the time being, let's simply call it as there was a decision of anger. In whose mind? In Ananda's mind. In Buddha's mind, the same buddhi was peaceful. Okay, so now what is making the difference? Is the sensation making the difference? No, obviously cannot, because she is abusing. That sound of abuse is coming to both of them. That is where the other 2 parts of the inner instrument are very important to understand. Chitta and ahankara. Chitta. What is chitta? Chitta, in a very simple way, is nothing but your memory bank. For a small baby, 6-month baby, you go and you tell, hey baby, you look like a donkey. The baby is simply looking at you. Baby has no reaction. Why? The sensation went. Buddhi is also functioning. But there is no memory of the sound called donkey, and there is no association to the word called donkey as a stupid animal. And it is me who's being referred as donkey. So therefore, there is no memory of that sound, and the ego, which is, you know who I am? You know who I am? I'm a very intelligent person. That is also not yet there in the baby. So therefore, this sensation, when it simply went like, so many sensations that come your way, no? Right now, as you're listening to not only the sound of the whatever I am speaking coming through your devices, but there must be other sounds around you. Other sounds are also coming. But right now, other sounds are simply coming and going. But this sound, you may be paying attention. Other sounds are simply coming and going. Like that, to the baby, when the you are a donkey goes, it simply comes and goes. Why? The chitta, memory bank, has not yet developed the concept called donkey is an animal, and donkey is usually referred as stupid animal. And the most important idea that I am being called a donkey. See, 3 thoughts. So the baby should understand what is donkey. Baby should understand that donkey is being referred as a stupid animal. And the most important thought, I am being referred as donkey. This whole mechanism is not yet there in the mind of the baby. Everything else is functioning perfectly well. So, like Ananda now. So let's say, for example, that old lady said, you stupid idiot scoundrel to Buddha. Say, for example, I don't know what she said. Okay, I'm just making up. So stupid idiot scoundrel is already in the chitta of Ananda. And in the chitta of Ananda, they are very derogatory meaning. And Ananda has a, I am a student of Buddha feeling. Who is my guru? Who is my master? Buddha, that person who's standing in front of me. And that person is being called as stupid idiot scoundrel. So the ego of Ananda triggered, oh, how can my master be scolded like that? It's like, for example, right in front of you, if let's say some other country's flag is being burned, you may feel okay. You may tell, or you may feel okay, it's okay. But imagine if your country's flag is being burned, you'll immediately have a lot of emotional response, isn't it? So there is a deep-rooted, you know who I am? I'm a disciple of who? Of Buddha. In whose mind? In the mind of Ananda. So the I, you know who I am, the ego, currently has taken the shape of a student, disciple, and his master is Buddha. And the words that are coming, the sensations that are coming, are being interpreted as derogatory, hurtful, demeaning. And so therefore, what is the response for that? So now, this is another important thing. In the chitta, imagine, somebody is scolding, and right from childhood, you have only seen, even when somebody is scolding, everybody in your house simply being like Buddha. Then, you would have thought, that is a way to be. You also would have learned that way. You simply would have remained silent, right? For example, if somebody comes and scolds you in a language that you don't know, you simply listen. It's a sound, right? It's simply a sound. But now, because Ananda has seen in the past, some people, when they receive something like idiot, scoundrel, whatever, respond in a certain way, that impression is also in the mind of Ananda. So now, therefore, he is bringing out that kind of a response. Then how come Buddha's response is different? Then does it mean that Buddha never had such kind of an impression in his mind? The most important thing is Buddha also has impressions. He also might have seen people scold. He also would know the meaning of these words. But the most crucial thought, you know who I am? I am Siddhartha, great king. Or I am Buddha, this enlightened being. And you, that old lady. That has vanished in Buddha. That ego has disappeared in Buddha. He's no more identifying himself as a shishya, or a king, or a man, or a woman, or a beggar, or a guru, or a disciple, or an enlightened. No identification. No identification with the thought called, you know who I am. He has realized he is nobody. He is nobody. He is neither a king, nor a enlightened being, nor a guru, nor a shishya. He is nobody. He is a pure awareness. So because of that realization, that ego is not functional in the sense that ego he uses when needed. Otherwise, he simply keeps it. He doesn't have to get enraged. At the same time, he doesn't necessarily have to keep silent. So when you look at the life of Krishna, Krishna at times forgave. The great story of Shishupala, you all know. He forgave Shishupala 100 times. 101st time, he simply cut his head. Then was Krishna angry? No. Ego is nothing but an identity or a role that you use as needed. Your own life, you take an example. You know, you may be a brother, you may be a husband, you may be a friend, you may be a boss, you may be an employee, you may be a vendor. You have so many different roles you play in your own life. Are you any one of them? They all come and go. They all are there. You use as necessary. In front of your wife, you cannot act like a brother. In front of your sister, you cannot act like a husband. So you all know that. So you use your ego as needed. But the fundamental issue is when you get identified with the ego. That is the fundamental source of all this triggering, which is happening in the case of Ananda. Buddha simply is able to see the sensations come. He is able to see, depending upon his own chitta, what kind of responses are emerging. He is also able to see what kind of a response I want to use. Because he has a very particular outcome that he desires. He is not there to make somebody look less or more. He has realized something far more deeper and meaningful in life, which has given him eternal peace. So the only thing that comes out when, let's say, your small baby comes and pees on you or poops on you, do you become angry and throw the baby away? No. Why? If as much as, somebody, some other person in front of your house is as much as just, let's say, peeing a little, how angry we may get, right? But your own baby on you pees and poops, you are perfectly okay. So what is the difference? There's a deep-rooted, it belongs to me, it is part of me. There is therefore no such qualm about it. Right? So the ego has simply disappeared in Buddha. And he uses the ego as needed. When somebody is asking a question, he is then using the ego of a teacher to use. But he's not identified as a teacher. He doesn't act in all the places as a teacher. In front of that old lady, when that old lady is seething with so much of anger, he couldn't have probably taught anything. So he simply kept quiet. So like that, it is the understanding of how your own inner instrument works that helps you. This watching what is happening within the mind is a habit that you and I need to cultivate. Simply to watch our own mind. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the whole mechanism, you can see that what you call as somebody else, where is that somebody else truly? Eventually, they're all appearing in your own mind as some sound. Right now, where am I? Where am I to you? You may initially say, point at the laptop and say, look, you are an image in the laptop. You all are science students and wonderful science graduates. You all know. Now we also saw how the audio works. Ultimately, like that audio, even the vision through the eyes is coming into your mind. Like that, any of the five senses, isn't it? Audio eventually ends up in your mind, in your mana. Vision ends up in your mind. Smell in your mind. Touch in your mind. Taste in your mind. All the five senses. You only have these five senses to interact with this world. And the world is actually flowing into you through these five senses only. So ultimately, where are you seeing me? Where are you hearing me? In you. Now, depending upon the meaning you are giving to the sounds I am making, it is you who is making the meaning to whatever the sounds that I'm sending. The donkey word can cause a meaning in the mind of the baby as, oh, stupid idiot. So I am being called as a donkey. So if that is the impression that has gone into the mind of the baby, then that is how it will respond. So like that, fundamentally by understanding the nature of how this entire mechanism is working, and fundamentally by understanding that the whole confusion and irritation and anger and stress is caused by this simple single entity called ego, Buddha has found his freedom. Because he has found his freedom, he is totally unaffected, even when she spit on him. And like how a loving mother would care for her baby, for him, that lady and her pain is visible. Because in order to throw so much of anger, what must be bothering her? So, this is how you and I can also now choose to either be like that old lady or like Ananda, or develop the capacity of Buddha. Because all the three are within you and me. And whose capacity you and I want to develop is also within you and me.
I can also see the three states in this scenario. The old lady being in the tamasic state, where she's doing that act of harm, and Ananda being in a rajasic state where he's enraged by what happened, and Buddha being in the sattvic state of just watching and not getting disturbed by the act. Right, so the three states is also showing up there.
Yeah. So Anjusha ji, does this whole elaboration help you?
Yes, sir. Yes, it was very interesting, and it was good, sir. It's good.
So what would be your response now to your own question of docility? What is that you want to take away from this whole discussion about the docility?
Sir, I feel let me continue in the way I think it is right. Let me not change with others, and that's what I felt. It will, if it is in the correct way or in the way of dharma, I should continue that. That's what I felt.
Absolutely. So docility should not be misunderstood as a kind of cowardice. So we should be very clear to distinguish between peace and the action. Peace is your inherent state. You don't have to do anything to be peaceful. So forgiving is an action. And you need to choose when to forgive and when not to forgive. That is also there. So seeing something happen wrong right in front of your eyes, and in the name of, let's say, forgiving, we cannot keep a blind eye, because eventually that will come back to kind of hurt us. So therefore, what Shri Krishna says is, you have to conduct yourself based on the dharma. Very important to understand dharma. So we have to separate between your true nature, which is peace, and the action that emanates through your body and mind. The action through your body and mind, as an example, because you relate more with medicine. As a surgeon, you may take a knife and cut somebody. Though it may cause maybe a little bit of pain, but the feeling with which that cutting is happening is, may it heal that person. So in order to do that, you are cutting. Whereas a robber or a murderer may use the same knife to actually murder somebody. So from an outsider view, both the actions seem to be about cutting something, right? About piercing something. But what is the outcome? What is that you are envisaging is different. So therefore, we need to act, because there is no other escape. That is the whole essence of Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna taught everything. He essentially taught about the mechanism of how life works. And he gave ultimately a choice to Arjuna. He never told Arjuna, fight. He told Arjuna, look, I have explained all this. What is your choice, Arjuna? What do you want to do? So the choice is still with you at any given moment. What choice you want to make, it's entirely up to you. So how you act, are you remaining peaceful at heart, but still are you showing some kind of an anger, so that certain outcome as expected or as right for everybody needs to happen? So that's also a choice.
The thing is, it should not cause disturbance. That is what I see.
Are you internally disturbed?
Disturbed, yeah.
Are you remaining peaceful?
Another parallel I can draw is Vijayji, like when I react, it's like giving remote control of mind to the other, right? And then basically I lose control of myself, which means like I'm at the mercy of other. If they press this button, I get angry. If they press other button, I may get happy, right? And that is going to lead to sorrow in the end. Right? So it's about
Absolutely. So you see, we see the remote, it works through infrared, but this human remote is sound bites, sight bites, smell bites. So in a way, I have given away how I feel to the mercy of some bites. So these bites bite me. Is that how I'm living my life? Then, how good is it? Is that what I want? Can the bites actually bite me? Can these sensation bites bite me? That's the fundamental question that you and I have a capacity to ask and examine. Anything more, Santosh ji or Isha ji, Ravi ji, Anjusha ji, anybody wants to add?
Vijay ji, see what I understood is, the situation will come. The situation will come to me and I see through my sense organs, and it will be traveling towards the mind, and from there again the memory, chitta, whatever that we stored, it will go and search there. What and all the impressions that I have created, through that it will combine with the ego, and then start bashing a opponent who has created a sort of inconvenient to me. So ultimately, what we need to do is, whenever the situation is against my thinking, or the way something registered in my chitta, I need to clear the chitta and use the ahankara as Buddha used for the way of being a teacher, or being a prince, or being a emperor, whatever it is, or being a master. Wherever necessary, use the ego and do your job, rather than accumulating lot of things by using an impression in the chitta, and mixing everything and getting upset, and and throwing the same thing on the opponent or whoever it is. This is what I understood.
Wonderful.
And even if you think further, right, like we understand that like there is no control of what appears to you. Things keep happening. A lot of things keep happening.
Yes.
Right. So if I start reacting to it, it becomes endless. And then like it starts saying like,
Correct.
okay.
It happens in such a way that within seconds will react. I mean, it is so strong. The impression that we have created in our chitta is so strong that it will not even take fraction of seconds to react. I mean, that kind of practices that we have cultivated. So the main problem is we need to clear the chitta and accept the things. I mean, it requires a lot of practice. I mean, we can just debate and sit here and debate, but still, it requires a lot of practice to overcome that.
And
And
that's
this is
the
what
gym we
matters.
get in as life, Santoshji.
Yes, yes.
What we get as situations is nothing but the gym through which we can keep cleansing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Vijay. That's what I got.
Very nice. So Saranji, if there is no other thing,
Yeah, good discussion.
we can end.
Yeah. Yeah, before I start, anyone else wants to recite? Anusha ji, Isha ji, Santosh ji, or Ravi ji?
Nothing from it.
Okay, maybe another day. Okay, we'll start today. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead me from untruth to truth, darkness to light, impermanence to permanence. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, that is complete. This is complete. When completeness is removed from completeness, what remains is complete. When completeness is added to completeness, the totality remains complete. Om, peace, peace, peace. Nanu nanenbadu nanalla, ideha manabuddhi nanalla, Sachidanandatma Shivananu nani, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. I'm the pure consciousness, Shiva Swarupa. Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi Pratyakjyotihi Paratparaha Jyotirjyotihi Swayam Jyotihi Atmajyotihi Shivoshmiham. I am the supreme light of awareness, illuminating the outer world of objects, inner world of thoughts, and deep sleep state. I am the divine light of the nature of auspiciousness, Shivaswami. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam. Recognition of the self is recognition of the whole. Recognition of the whole is recognition of the truth. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may we all be protected, may we all be nourished, may we work together, sharing our energies. May our intellect be sharpened, may we be friends forever. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from suffering. May all see what is uplifting. May no one suffer. May there be well-being in all. May there be peace in all. May there be completeness in all. May there be auspiciousness in all. Om, peace, peace, peace. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. May all beings be happy, healthy, and peaceful. Hari Om Tat Sat. Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Thank you all.
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you. Hari Om.